Now we're going to turn our attention into using grammar and intonation. So when we're turning our attention to larger units of speech, we consider how an expert listener tried to manage the identification of grammar patterns in the words. So we also consider what information a listener obtains from the way in which intonation shapes the speech. There is logic in discussing syntax and intonation together because, as will become clear, they are quite closely interconnected. The parsing or found matches for a group of words, having to trace the grammatical structure that binds them together, it depends partly upon the listener's ability to monitor a structure as it develops, and partly upon her ability to recognize when it is complete. So, how does a listener recognize the point where a syntactic unit finishes? In this chart, we have some exercises in recognizing syntactic units. So we're talking about awareness raising, hesitation and juncture pauses, phrase patterns, and dividing into phases. As soon as we complete the parsing, the listener turns what she has learned into an abstract idea. So that idea then has to be extended to cover not just what the grammar of the sentence has told, but also what the grammar implies. So we will consider two areas where extra meaning has to be added to be better message. The speaker uses a functional language and the implications that certain grammatical patterns. The intonation group and how the way in which it contributes to listening. So a little background will be useful. Speaker assembles speech in short, manageable pieces, which often correspond to syntactic units in the form of phrases or clauses. They are produced in a single burst, held together by the movement of the speaker voice. The intonation group has an important impact on the words within it. It highlights the syllable that carries vocal strength but does so at the expense of the adjoining ones. So a group tends to consist of one syllable that is clearly articulated, surrounded by others that are squeezed in duration or reduced in form. Here we have another exercises in using vocal syllables. So we have identifying vocal syllables, keyword gap filling, keyword recognition, keyword hypothesis, keyword prediction, keyword cues, and dealing with reduced sequences. Pronunciation teaching traditional gives detailed attention to the pitch movements of the speaker's voice, especially rises and falls on the vocal syllable. The movements are classified into high, fall, rise, fall, rise. But for the teacher of listening, this results in rather complex system and in generalizations about meaning that are sometimes difficult to sustain. Listening has been shown to be an approximate process, and not one which relies upon exact matches. It is approximate in that the listener does not make identification decisions at phonemes or words level on the basis of a single piece of evidence, but has to treat a range of cues against each other. It is also approximate in that the decisions made have to be treated as tentative and may have need to be adjusted as more of the utterance is heard and more evidence becomes available. Interrogative pressures are the leaven of the